7:30 a.m. on Sunday, May 18th, day 4 aboard the Lynx Tall Ship schooner, making a transit today from Bristol through Narragansett Bay back around Newport, through the Elizabeth Islands, into Tisbury, just to the west of Oak Bluffs. So out the hatch into a blue sky. The fog is gone. We have a new air mass. In southern New England, it's beautiful. In northern New England, lingering from yesterday, showers. There was so much severe weather in Vermont yesterday. I have on my noise canceling microphone. We're in the wind. It's a new wind, so we're looking east right now. The wind is at my back. The wind is from the west. And dare I turn around and see if the wind is going to bother me? Yes, I dare. So the foresail just went up. Foresail. And the topsails are going to come down because that's how they work. They come down. That means they're deployed. And we are transiting back to whence we came a couple days ago. What a day in Bristol, Rhode Island yesterday. Beautiful blue sky and sinking air. And we've got the moon in the sky this morning. There's the waxing flower moon. All right, I'm going to duck down below this cabin here. The galley's in there. Chef's making breakfast. Good morning, Chef. John is in there making breakfast for us. And I'm going to try and just sit right down here next to the pirate and give the forecast. Hey, Troy. He's looking at the bridge. We're going under the bridge. I think that's the Jamestown bridge. So many bridges in Rhode Island. And yesterday, another bad day for severe weather. And yesterday it was in Vermont. I got some images from between 3 and 5 p.m. of those severe thunderstorms coming through Vermont on the radar here. And there was some flash flooding. And here are the rainfall amounts. So yesterday, Vermont got weeks worth of rain, of course on a Saturday, because it seems to happen every Saturday. 2.3 in Underhill. Looks like the most rain almost in the entire nation yesterday. 2 inches at Stowe, Vermont. Sean Kearney, Big Red, at the Stowe Motel, captured some images yesterday afternoon. He said, opening day. I don't know what you were joking about, Sean, but thank you for the imagery. And there was more severe weather, too. Nothing like 2 days ago. Yesterday, when I was doing the early morning presentation, I was unaware of the number of fatalities, especially centered near St. Louis and Missouri. And then yesterday, the severe weather was more northern Vermont, northern New York, and Texas into Oklahoma and Arkansas. So the Severe Storm Prediction Center did a great job forecasting all this over the last 48 hours. And this morning, we start off, look at the lightning. You can see another batch of real heavy weather going out of Oklahoma into Arkansas. And we even have a little lightning in northern New England this morning. In Maine, the low pressure system is stalled. It's actually a triple point low. We talk about that in a second. The regional roundup this morning about 7 a.m. And it showed temperatures mostly in the 50s. I turned off the dew points. Those no longer really that relevant, although it is always relevant. But the wind gusts, I think, are more relevant. Not that much wind here in Narragansett Bay. The red numbers are wind gusts. Boston gusting to 23 from the west-southwest. And, of course, you got to get the wind direction right. And you have some bagginess in the isobars in northern New England. A lot of spots are calm this morning with a temperature in the 50s and deep puddles in Vermont. They're going to probably stay there because it's cloudy in Vermont. Here's the satellite imagery. Wait, here's the satellite imagery. Here's the sun sparkle with a sailboat. Sun sparkle, sailboat. One little level of altocumulus. Bright sun. And was I done with the satellite imagery? No, I wasn't. Satellite imagery over New England shows heavy clouds and downpours continuing, especially, it looks like two circulations, one northern New York, another one in northern Vermont, and then in Maine and in northern Maine. There are downpours this morning, but we are done with the severe storms. There are going to be scattered thunderstorms with an upper level low. We have colder air moving in at most levels of the atmosphere, but with the bright sun in southern New England, clear sky in southern New England, we're going to probably warm up to near 70, while in northern New England, 60s and 50s underneath those thick clouds. taking a breath, breathing it in, slowing down a little bit because I'm going to make a video going right underneath this bridge live and in Technicolor beneath the staysail. And that's the mainsail back there. And we'll do more about the sails. It's a long day. I call it not in a hurry Sunday. And when you're on a sailboat, the engine is going this morning, but we need that for electricity this morning while we cook. And I think we probably have enough wind to shut down the engine and sail into Martha's Vineyard, going to Tisbury tonight. This evening, we hope to be there pretty soon. Going around West Chop. You'll be east of us on East Chop, max decks. Here's the NAM high res for today. And we're using the high res again, back to the NAM. I know it was in the doghouse after missing all that rain in Bristol a couple days ago, but the HRRR is not that different. But the reason I like this is because, well, it shows the circulation. You get the showers and the potential thunderstorms, mostly across Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. But note, they do spark up also with a few showers, probably not thunder, in central and southern New England late today, tonight, and even coming into southeastern New England at about sunset or so, and downpours north with some thunder, and there could be some grapple or even some small hail as upper levels cool, and then backlash sort of with the low going east of Maine. It's a triple point low. We know about those and how tricky they are. And here comes the backlash tomorrow with, what is that? Blue elevation snow possible at the top of the Green Mountains and the White Mountains. I think this is a little overdone, but there could be some snowflakes, especially above about 2,500, 3,000 feet tomorrow. And this goes through into, it's a 60-hour product, so that's going to take us out to Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday looks like a brighter and drier day, and then there are big questions regarding the next system coming our way on Wednesday. Most of the guidance has shifted south, and it's a little less cold, a little less threat for snow with that one. So why don't we rewind a little bit to the surface map for this afternoon. I always talk about these triple point lows and how difficult they are. The old low decays over Ontario around 996 millibars. The new low forms on the triple point with the occluded, meets the warm, meets the cold front, just meaning there's a mature low and a new one's forming over the coast of Maine. This evening it's still showering, and out west we have another powerful system in the northern Rocky states. And there are winter storm warnings, again, in a wider area than a few days ago. Winter storm warning in effect, national advisory watches and warnings in Montana and Idaho for 6 to 12 inches of snow down to about 6,000 feet. So a lower snow level than a few days ago. And of course, that means there's going to be severe weather. Anytime you get that kind of cold, we're going to have severe weather that doesn't show right now. The old severe storms in Arkansas are going to dissipate, and there's going to be a new batch forming. In the red in New Mexico, that is a high fire danger, and there's a lot of frost advisory on the map, a lot of blues and purples there, frost and freeze. So looks like cold is trying to overwhelm warm in a lot of the lower 48 over the next 48 to 60 hours. And the Severe Storm Prediction Center, yeah, I wanted to show this too, where there's going to be potentially harmful weather. I hate reporting harmful weather, but it looks really ominous there now. And it looks like the Central Plains down to the lower Mississippi Valley, enhanced chance for severe weather and thunderstorms and damaging wind and possible tornadoes. And here in the Northeast in Maine, just a chance of a thunderstorm. All right, I see earmuffs. Are we going to fire carronades? No, they're going down below just to work on the engine or something. And we're almost underneath this bridge, so why don't I show the GFS and see if I can't get that done before we're out from underneath the bridge. The GFS and the Euro in disagreement. Euro now, by the way, lost yesterday to the GFS with the beautiful weather in southern New England by afternoon. Shows this upper level low over New England and a surface low over the Gulf of Maine, just wobbling around with the showers and potential mix, especially above Mount Washington, should change to snow in the next 24 hours. And the system slowly coming at us from the west, and the block in the atmosphere, and no longer shows snow very close to New England, but again, it's backing through Quebec into Ontario with the cold air advection and chance of showers going on here Monday. And then Tuesday, it looks like we're getting a little break, and most of the action is north of us. Time out. Watch a boat go by here. This is fun. How often do you get a forecaster doing this? Almost underneath the bridge. Keep going on that GFS now. and pick it up on Wednesday. It now looks like the low to our south is a little further south, and the Euro says it's not even close, way off with a nice day. But the GFS shows this just showers and an increasing wind from the northeast on Wednesday and Thursday. Still a powerful low, but it's further south. And then Wednesday into Thursday no longer shows the snow, but I think there will be some snow at the taller elevations. You see the 540 line is off to our west, and this low is really slow, and it's actually backing up a little bit and bringing in more precipitation next Friday into Saturday. Oh my goodness, again, next Saturday it shows precipitation just warm enough for rain instead of snow. The jury is out on that. And then Sunday, we're still in the cool with a chance of showers. And then Monday, it looks like that front that was right on us on Monday is still pretty close enough to bring us some more rain, if not Monday the 26th, then Tuesday the 27th. So this goes out to Tuesday the 27th. And we have low pressure, I believe, off to our south with a chance of more onshore flow and precipitation here and cool weather. So that gives us about 10 days in a row with at least the threat for some precipitation in New England and on the cool side. All right, standing up, going right underneath the Jamestown Bridge. These bridges over Narragansett Bay are certainly a spectacle, and we're about to have an eclipse of the sun looking toward the east. So I'm kind of backwards right now. We're headed south. So we're looking over towards Newport, Rhode Island, with Jamestown in the background, and the sun comes out of its eclipse, and now we're going by Newport again. And I'm not sure how we're going to get by Newport.
Just came out from under the bridge. We have our
That was cool.
set too.
And more sails are coming up today. So even though I'm not in a hurry, we do want to make Martha's Vineyard by the end of the day. And we're headed south. So Jamestown on the right, trying to get my bearings, and then Aquidneck on our left. And it looks like some of the equipment, perhaps, I know I should know these landmarks, and I know a lot of my viewers are saying, you don't know what that landmark is, TK? And look at that ship. That ship may have something to do with the wind farms. There's a lot of rigging on that ship.
Went into Newport.
Okay, breaking news on what that ship is. What is that ship, Josh?
So that is a yacht carrier, and if you look really close, you can see the masts of all of the sailing yachts that it's carried over, probably either from the Caribbean or from the Med.
So just like some of us have our cars shipped, some of us have our yachts shipped?
Yes, and it's actually, believe it or not, it's cheaper because you're not hiring on a crew. You're not paying for fuel. You're just paying a flat rate based on the size of the boat.
Cool, thanks. So I just know we're looking over toward Aquidneck, toward the east. So Cape Cod is in that direction. Cape Cod is in that direction. Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket in that direction. Block Island in that direction. And just quite an adventure. A lot of questions you've asked. No, I don't know the tonnage of the lead below us, but I do know that this ship weighs 150 tons. Learned that pulling it into the dock a couple days ago. Incredible day in Bristol, Rhode Island yesterday. The weather cooperated. There were a few raindrops. The battle ensued, and it was more content than I think I can almost edit, with the reenactment of the battle for the sheep and the cows, and great people. And I really felt like I was doing time traveling yesterday. And of course, play-by-play on the weather and the Herreshoff Museum. More stuff than I can fit into a video. It's going to end up being more than a half-hour video here. I really appreciate your patience. Hope you enjoy the ride, because it's out the door weather and more. Hi.
I'd like to be in your photo.
How do I get above a human like that?
Right?
So it's almost 9 o'clock, 8:45. I'm a little bit late, and we've changed flags just temporarily. We're gonna represent the British in this battle. Oh boy.
Okay, well, that's why. Doing what you're
They said muskets. That's not a musket, that's a cannon. We are in trouble. The Redcoats, of course, have a police escort. So, how many sheep and cows are you guys looking for? Can we negotiate?
400 sheep and 30 fatted calf.
Fatted.
Fatted.
No skinnies.
No skinny ones. They're
And
meant
if,
to eat the sheep. The officers will eat the cats.
and if the locals don't give what you want,
We'll burn the town and kill the people.
We're gonna get it one way or another.
Throw the children from the
Question
steeple.
how?
Right? Isn't that what we do, Sergeant? We throw the children from the steeple?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. All right.
And kill the people.
And we poison the drinking water?
Yep.
What else would you like us to do?
Well, we have to
turn
do it before they
and
grow up to
go
be
back
corrupt.
and tell the king to shove it. Whatever you want, sir. Talk to you later. So the Crown had 30 armed on shore. And we've got 2 cannons and 20 people. I don't see any muskets, but they're probably there. It's gonna be a battle. I hope no one gets hurt. They're just gonna take a long walk on a short pier. So the Lynx, it was running for the United States, but today for the King and the Crown with the red duster. They're protecting the sheep. And I don't think they have 200. The team was about 40, I believe. It's a negotiation.
We must provide His Majesty's troops or we will begin hostilities against the town. It's your last chance to be 200 sheep and 30 fatted cattle for these troops to defend the rightful rule of King George. Will you not provide them? Very well. Good warning.
Ain't giving no sheep, no cows. Prepare for battle.
Agreement with the British. The British return to the ship.
That's a real cannon.
Oh no, it looks like the Wally house was hit. Benjamin Smith's house was hit. Mr. Finney's distillery was hit. normally have them on your boat? How many? You have 300 sheep? Where are you hiding them? In your back? I got it someplace else.
Take them all!
The Royal Navy didn't get the word. There's been a negotiation, and the locals are throwing the sheep at the Navy, and the Navy's, well, threw one or two of them back. I guess they were too skinny. The British are still firing, even though there's been a negotiation. They didn't have cell phones back then. Somebody tell the people on the ship to stop firing. But I think there's still an attempt to burn the town. Kind of a negotiation is that. Who ends up winning anyway?
Everybody get in the circle.
I knew you were gonna go for it. It is my best angle.
Someone tell the Navy to stop firing?
Jeez.
These are memories. Oh, look at you guys look good. All right, you got a question. Hold on.
Ready? Get on your knees in front.
You move.
Oh.
That's good. Okay.
No,
Regulars.
What TV station has the highest ratings in Rhode Island? The one that covers all the events? That one is,
Members of some companies were here during the occupation of Newport and Bristol, and the other regiments had gone down different parts of the British Army through different campaigns, and we left in August 1778 to return home. We had actually been away from Britain for over 20 years at that point. We were in Ireland. In the 1760s, we went to Canada. Then 1774, we were called down to Boston because things were getting pretty bad up in Massachusetts. We left Boston in 1776, went up to Halifax for a few months, and then invaded New York in September 1776. And from there, we stayed in the campaign for another 2 years before we finally, the officers and the drummers and fifers went home.
And the NCO.
And the NCOs to rebuild the regiment. The enlisted men, the privates, the common soldiers, they were drafted into other regiments that were still serving. While our time in America was over, theirs was not. They had to go until the war ended. Albert, he's a sergeant. Now his uniform is halfway in quality between the private's men and ours. His scarlet is mock scarlet, so ours is actual fine scarlet wool. His is not quite as nice, but it's still very nice. He has a sash, but it's made out of Worcester wool, or mine's out of silk. And he has a hanger here. It's a brass sword, a little more practical than small swords. And then his halberd denotes his rank in the battalion company. Sergeants in the other companies, the light infantry companies, they had muskets as well, or they were shorter muskets, but he does not. He has a halberd. His company officer who's not here today would have had a spontoon, which kind of looks like it's like a spear. But as the war went on, these pole arms were ditched because they found that it was far better to have a musket.
Right. Yes, you don't want to. And I became major and adjutant, and now I'm lieutenant colonel. So I've gone from 2005 to 2025. I've protected every rank of every company.
Wow, excellent. Now you own them.
Yes. I think I paid for the coat and the waistcoat $1,500.
Okay. Wow.
I'm lucky though, because I have an excellent tailor who happens to be my son.
Oh, good.
He actually made his uniform.
Oh,
He made
wow.
mine.
Back in 2003. And I was 10. I was impressed by it. So I wanted to do this. Oh, I was absolutely hooked. And I bugged my parents every year. I wanted to go see it. And finally I saw it again a few years later in 2006. And I happened to be with this group that had these pamphlets out. And I said, all right. So I took a couple of them and I begged my mom, can you email the guy? I want to do this. I want to do this. And She did, and I went to a drill. We have monthly drills in Lexington, and I went to a drill, and there were other kids my age. There were other families involved, and I went right in. And then my mom loved it because it was a family-friendly organization. There were other moms, and so it was great. And we get to travel all these different places, do these reenactments. And
I have some friends in South County, and I don't know what group they're with, but my father was doing it forever, and his son was doing it too.
Well, yeah, so my mom and my sister used to dress up and come to events because they figured if they were coming to events anyway, because it's cheaper than getting a hotel. And then because we tent, and we had the big white tents, and we bought 2 of them, and you know, spending 2 nights. So I mean, a hotel, $100 a night at minimum. So I mean, the cost of 2 events pays for the tent, and it had dresses and gowns and stuff, and then they eventually my sister moved away and stuff, mom stuff. She might come back every now and then, but I stayed with it all these years later.
What's your name?
My name's Dylan Potter.
Dylan.
So
nice to meet you.
What's your real name?
It is. So what's funny is that with the Potters that are in Rhode Island, now they're actually all descended from Robert Potter in the 1600s, and I only know this through the family history that my grandfather did. Now, Robert had a brother, Nicholas, who was a Puritan, and he went to Massachusetts Bay Colony up in Lynn, Mass. in 1638. I'm descended from him, and what's ironic is my great-grandfather moved to Lynn in 1926 from Canada. Never realized the connection. But his brother Robert Potter was a Quaker. And Quakers weren't too appreciated in the Puritan Massachusetts Bay Colony in the 1600s. So they were kicked out, and they were told to come down to Rhode Island. So he went to Warwick, Rhode Island. They purchased land in there was a big land grab from the Native Americans back then, and they were purchasing it basically pennies on the dollar, all this land. And he was eventually arrested because it was an illegal purchase because it was done without the magistrates. And then he got arrested, sent back up to Boston, only to get exiled again down into Rhode Island. But a lot of the Potters in Rhode Island, now I didn't find the direct connection between Simeon Potter and this Robert Potter, but a lot of them are from those Quaker Potters that were 100 years before, or 140 years before at that point. So
where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Lynn, Mass. And then now I live in southern New Hampshire. But
that's great.
How many events a year do you participate?
So we do, so we'll do it's probably twice a month for about 6 months, from March until, actually probably more than 6 months, March till October, but we do some stuff. This year being the 250th, it's a little more packed. We did Leslie's Retreat in Salem. That's when Colonel Leslie took British over the bridge from Marblehead into Salem, and they were stopped. They didn't fire, and then 2 months later, Election and Concord happened. But we do that. We did the St. Patrick's Day Parade in South Boston because it's also Evacuation Day when the British were forced out of Boston. So we marched in that.
I think these are authentic period. 200 years old. Wow. My Jeep only lasts 20 years.
The only thing that's really not original on here is the wood.
Okay.
Well, the cannon is from the 1700s.
Wow. It's still warm. I used to work at this TV station once. 6 now. Keep changing. There was We Love New England, I think, when I was there. Oh, I think the sun's coming out.
Illegal pirate. Illegal pirate.
Whatever that means.
Pirate. So that we can take prizes for, well, this was English, but the original English. The cannonball. Exactly.
I'm not sure where the Royal Army and Navy are supposed to light the fire, but I think we've got people just in case. Very modern technology to fight the fire. Steamer. Oh, looks like there's gonna be some lunch in there. Where's the fire? Now this would burn pretty quickly, this old building, I'm pretty sure. Oh, there's a saloon over there. Watch out for fire. This one looks kind of non-flammable. Should be safe unless somehow they get the torch inside there. Yeah, embarrassed. Bruised.
Embarrassed, you right?
As long as you're okay.
Pissed at myself. Okay, this is the local militia trying to stop the Royal Navy and Army from burning down Bristol. Modern technology has been deployed to monitor both sides. Okay, the Royals are retreating, or at least stepping back. Nice day for a battle. Funny how we hate war. Happy when it's not happening to our nation and family.
Supposed to be have a gathering. Did you know anything about that?
Replenished.
United Train of Artillery, 1777, prevented the king from burning Bristol. A lot of old mill buildings, now residential areas, but they maintained a boardwalk for the harbor, which is just great. I think every coastal town should have waterfront access, pedestrian passage. The Rosa Rugosa are in bloom. Not sure a beach plum was meant to be pruned like this, but whatever. Rose Rugosa you can prune, it'll come right back. You can smell food everywhere too. Lots of restaurants. Nice landing right here. Different kind of docking situation. More like lines and ropes. That's a little different. Look at this, all new. Rope, pilings, beautiful. Another park with, of course, a pirate ship playground. It probably is a lot more fun playing a pirate than actually being one. Although Troy would probably have something to say about that. The town was not burned. fire department. And a nice, easy day so far. There should definitely be more swings in the world, I think. And a working boat fleet. No idea what all those hoses are for, but it's probably very interesting. And we've got a wharf with ferry service. From where to where, I'm not sure. But you can drive your truck, your car right on that one. Bristol Maritime Center over there. Wow. Modern technology on a really old building. Looks like it was built to either represent a fort or is an actual fort. Let's get to Herreshoff. Okay, just got off Thames Street, walking up back towards Hope, I think it's called. Lots of beautiful old structures. And also, I just got like knocked over practically by this fragrance. I had to stop in my tracks and look up iNaturalist. American Black Elderberry. You smell that? Oh, isn't that nice? Please don't sit on my stone wall. Get that right. William Fales, 1797. One rhododendron coming out right there. There's a rose. Got the hedge. That rhododendron looks like it's not going to bloom. 4 eagles. Beautiful. And so on and so on and so on. How about those doors? Yeah. Love that. 2:03 p.m. Saturday, May 16th. And I just got hit by 2 raindrops. So we do have a tiny bit of rain. Officially, T so far. Bristol, Rhode Island. Another one of those flowering trees. Look at the size of this one. I put it into iNaturalist. Horse chestnut. I think I got some of these growing in my garden in Weymouth. Squirrels bring down the nuts and leave them all over the place. Wow, look at the size of that tree. So many trees, so few gigabytes. Villa Serena. Tall Ship Lynx. On this rocky waterfront here. Yeah, run out of gigabytes too. There's their steps down. Looks like an old wharf right there. Talking like hundreds of years old. And if you run right along here, Hope Street, I'm sure that Captain Herreshoff lived around here. That's the Herreshoff Museum right up there. And then you can see the leftover platform from the old wharf right out there. And here was the gate. Built by Works Progress Administration, 1935-1939. And the gate has since been sealed. Almost enough rain to dampen the ground, but not the spirits. Haley's giving them a look in the salon, which is nice. Kids love it.
Where we take all our meals, hang out with
America 3.
Billionaire guy. Yeah.
What's inside here?
Museum entrance.
Can you show me? Can you open the door? Herreshoff Marine Museum, America's Cup Hall of Fame.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Neat.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So I'm wondering if there was an overnight package delivered yesterday for the Tall Ship Lynx.
America Cup Hall of Fame. He's accepting his mail now at the America Cup Hall of Fame at the Herreshoff Maritime Museum. Founded by John Brown Herreshoff, JBH, and Nathaniel Green Herreshoff, NGH. Right here in Bristol, Rhode Island. 18th. Styles have changed a tad, huh?
Oh my word, it is unbelievable.
I like the ones on the left.
What they have done. Look at this evolution of new stuff.
2007, 2003,
So
2000.
This is depicted out on the front lawn.
1995. Oh, that's the one out front.
Yeah.
Without the sponsors. The sponsors confused me. America's Cup Challenge 1992, San Diego, California.
And here's what started it, all right here.
I've read that one. It's the half-size replica of the original sterling silver.
But this is the Yacht America.
The original
So
winner.
it was a race, and whoever won the race would name the cup. And it was the Yacht America, so it's the America's Cup.
August 22, 1851.
Yeah, very fast boat.
And why do they call it America Cup Defenders? Like, how long did America have the cup, do you know?
It was the longest winning trophy in sports history. That America retained it from 1851 to 1992, I think.
I remember that, and it was sad.
When we lost it to Australia.
And so does the winning team get to host it?
Yeah, so it's still called America's Cup, but it is now hosted in countries. And the defender selects the race site.
Ah. Australians came to fight, and they eventually got it. But when I was young, I used to see it there in Newport all the time. Seemed like an annual thing, and I didn't understand why it wasn't in Newport anymore, but there's the Hall of Fame. Sailors, designers, builders, owners, syndicate heads. So, much like the horse racing, maybe your owner is not your captain.
This guy, Ted Turner.
Ted Turner.
He was really something. They call him the mouth that roared. He was a great sailor. He defended the cup a couple times, and then Dennis Conner.
1977.
Good job. He was the first to lose it, but he was.
Skippered Freedom in her 1980 victory over Australia. 1993, though outmatched by John Bertrand's victorious Australia 2, Connor's skill and courage brought Liberty 3 victories and forced the series into an unprecedented 7th race. Connor won the America's Cup for the United States in 1987, sailing Stars and Stripes to 4 straight victories at Fremantle, Australia. In 1988 controversial cup match, Dennis defeated Sir Michael Fay's 130-foot New Zealand 2-0 with the first catamaran to ever compete for the cup. Dennis was a stronger contender in 1992 with a new Stars and Stripes. Oh, can you hear him whispering in your ear?
And this is the Herreshoff Museum where you get Nathaniel Herreshoff.
Nathaniel Green Herreshoff, the Wizard of Bristol, dominated yacht design for 75 years. Hall of Boats. Oh, indeed, there is a Hall of Boats. Took me a while to figure what that was over in my head, but it's a catamaran. Huh. We don't have time to read all the plaques and everything, but we can go upstairs for a minute and look down on this beautiful boat. Eaglet, 1916. Harvard official launch. That's a heck of a launch. Thania. Oh my goodness. The launch for Harvard. Please. Sentie's dinghy, 1906. Look at that kayak. Could almost handle. I think I could handle one of these for a few minutes. The dinghies, the original dinghies, tenders, and then you can go. Pleasure craft. I think. Oh no, that's boat pleasure. Sorry. Yeah. March 31, 1935. Got masts. We got masts. Masts and masts and masts. And the engines started coming along. We win. Fin keel, 1/2 Raider. And then propelled by steam. Built 1903 Eagle. You can get a sense for the ribs of the boat and stuff. And then this is actually, that must be some kind of navigation system. And then this is from Herreshoff's notes on how to design the ribs and the mathematics and how wide the boat is, 3 inches, 6 inches, 9, 12, so on and so on. And then you got the half breadth plan, the shear, what the wind would do. I'm thinking is what that is. Mathematics, a lot of mathematics. And then the engines came along, and this measured how much pressure was coming out of your engine. Captain Nat would have used the same tools when coreless factory engines were used to test the efficiency of the steam engines. Went on to build with JB at HM Co. And speed for defense. The Navy utilized the Herreshoff designs. And these are some of the engines used to power the more luxury boats. Tiffany, China, of course, only the best. And there's an example of what the shop looked like with the machinery and an actual shop engine from HM Co. Captain Herreshoff. Our object would be to turn out the very best work possible and deal only with those who appreciated and could pay for good, honest work. Captain Nathaniel Green Herreshoff. Here we are. Truant. It's me. Truant. Love this. I love aerial views. So there it is. 1903 Americans Cup Defender. Photo taken by Nathaniel Stebbins off Newport, Rhode Island. Saturday, July 25, 1903, during selection trials against Constitution and Columbia. The scale of this photo is deceptive at first glance, but note how minuscule the crew members' faces appear over the rail. Reliance was a monster. The sloop measured 90 feet on the waterline, but a staggering 143 feet 9 inches overall, and her rig towered nearly 200 feet over the surface of the water, making Reliance the largest cup defender ever built. Pleasure, built in 1924. I think that's the one over there. What's this one beneath us? Not sure. It just keeps going. Hornet, 1931. I'm not sure. I think that's Hornet right there. Nope, that's a dinghy. Oh, it's just telling you the stories of the boats down there. I got you. Hornet. There's Hornet. Aria. Buzzards Bay 25 class, built in 1914. And where's that one? I can't tell. And then Belisarius. Belisarius. It's difficult to read your sign. Built in 1935. HM Co. number 1266 was the final large yacht designed by N.G. Herreshoff, built for a friend, Mr. Charles B. Rockwell Jr. Bambino. Oh, there's one that looks like it had an engine at one point. Unique method of hull design. There's the model room. Look at them all. Oh my goodness. Oh, that catamaran that we just saw. And some weather instruments over there, other instruments. There is a barometer over there. Oh, the reflection's not gonna allow me to get a decent video of it, unfortunately, but it's got the same face and font as the barometer my dad left me. Self-steering wind vane, weather instruments. Repair kits, tools, construction, so on and so on. Is that a young Captain Nat, or is that his brother? I think it's a young Captain Nat. Look at that hair. And that calendar says December 1929. And the Herreshoff Museum. Yep. Naval vessels, first torpedo boats. Oh, wow. Didn't design that, did he? Seaplane. Yeah, a little known part of HM Co.'s history includes building hulls for seaplanes. Okay, he built the hulls. Strong hulls were perfectly suited for use as flying boats. The name of that catamaran from above here, Amaryllis replica, original built in 1876. 33 by 30 by 20, draft 9 inches, board up 3 inches, 9 down. You can operate that boat in 3 inches. And then it says, welcome aboard Torch. Please remove your shoes. Limit to 4 visitors at a time. Since when am I asked to take my shoes off? Happily. Does that mean there was an engine here? No, that's of course where the mast went, silly boy. And a little stove for maybe cooking and warmth. And looks like we're invited inside. I can sit down and steer for a moment if we wanted to. And then, yeah, we are invited down inside. How about that? I was taught to go down these, out the hatch, backwards. So this is how I go in and out of Lynx. That's what they told me. For safety's sake. And we are inside an NH Co. sailboat. Oh, it is comfortable. Oh man, I doubt this one was built for speed. Plumbing, cooking, galley, berths, storage. Thanks for letting me in. How long is the video now? An hour? We haven't even gotten to evening. I'm not sure what's in there. Looks like it's locked, usually. That's a closet. There's something to hold the closet door, of course. They thought of everything. Yeah, they could live right on this boat if necessary. Storage, storage, storage. Could just fall right asleep in here. It is nap time, you know. Wake me up when the tour is over. Door's over, you can't get out of here. Out the hatch. And the weather is fair to middling. I think it's raining outside, but when your boat is in a huge museum, you stay dry. Go ahead, after you. Coming through, there's room for all of us. Thank you. Vigilant, Valkyrie. Herreshoff 1893, a regal name in boat design and construction. Among their boats were the Cup Defenders, Vigilant, Defender, Columbia, Reliance, Resolute. They also built the Enterprise and Rainbow, designed by Starling Burgess. Of course, every company had a bell. I'll spare you from me gonging it, but Herreshoff Manufacturing Company bell for many decades. The men of Herreshoff Manufacturing Company worked in response to the tolling of this bell on a building on Burnside Street. The bell was rung on August 14, 1977 to signal the opening day of the Sidney D. W. Herreshoff Room of the Herreshoff Marine Museum, donated in 1977 by Anthony A. Nunes, Harry Sullivan Jr. Can I? And bell we just talked about, and now we're going out the door at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and guess what? The weather has changed yet again. And we're squarely in the warm sector, south of the warm front now. Oh man, let's shed a layer. Gorgeous. Behind every shower, there is a bright spot, rising air and then sinking air. And it's close to 80 degrees now in southern New England. So we can declare the GFS, the American model, beat the American Weather Model 1. The Euro had rain for today in southern New England on days 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then finally this morning it came around. So you go GFS, the American model. Now there are big thunderstorms off way up to the north, but everyone was in agreement about that. It was really southern New England, and especially these events, graduations and weddings, and of course the 250th celebration here in Bristol, Rhode Island. What an honor. Pleasure to be here. Today's Out the Door Weather and More brought to you by Herreshoff Marine Museum and Rolex, 3:04 p.m. I wish. But congratulations, American model, on retaining the championship, defending the best forecasts of any global model for southern New England all week long, handily beating the Euro that said it was going to be ugly all day long. You go, United States. Captain Peacock has got his new flags. What do you got there, Cap?
We got our 18 by 12 Betsy Ross 1776 flag. That's the circular 13 stars in the blue field. And then I've got an 8 by 12 storm flag of the same.
Well, here's
so
to the
flags will now be flown until the end of December 31st, 2026.
Does the storm flag go up regardless of the weather?
Storm flag, if it's blowing too hard for the storm flag, yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
More on that later. What a day. Did they say it was going to be this nice?
Beautiful.
5 o'clock somewhere here. Call it a day, TK. Look at that. Chimney says 1994. Architecture says 1894. Gorgeous. And what is that up on the roof of that building? That's how we used to communicate before cell phones. Walk along the privet. And just about to wrap it up for the day. Beautiful view from right here at the park. Hopefully I can get a moment without the cars. Yeah, it's an antenna. Remember? Radio waves and all that. Severe weather going on in Vermont. Thanks for the pictures. Big Red in Stowe, Vermont. He says it's opening day for flooding. And just a gorgeous view here above Wally Beach. Learned a lot about the hurricane in 1938 that sent water way over my head and destroyed some of the Herreshoff Manufacturing Company buildings. And look at that, Old Glory and the red duster. End of And More, Saturday, May 16th, airing on Not in a Hurry Sunday, May 17th, with snow in our forecast. That's right. Oh, Mansfield, you have to go north. Chase, this week. Hard to get away from the noises, but here's the video time lapse from Weymouth. No doubt. Interesting sky. Turn is blue in Weymouth. Congratulations, GFS, on the win. And these forecasts all week long. Glad we stuck with the American model. We all get along, right? The Euro will have another win. Bass River. It was probably like this. Some sun came out. Way up on the western horizon, northwestern horizon, there are some towering cumulus. Stiff breeze from the southwest. Feels like about 80 right here now. Relentless wind just picked up again. First 8 o'clock sunset of the year. Bristol, Rhode Island.